Yo,
What's going on, Matt?
not much, man. Trying to be excited and happy right now, but it's hard. That was a rough first period.
You're coming to the wrong place, I think.
So it's just you so far?
So far, but the boys should be joining us momentarily.
Right on. We got the From Sailing Hands podcast here joining us, everybody.
What's happening, fellas? Sorry about the technical difficulties on my end. I don't know what's going on. I think I'm having the same technical difficulties the Habs are having.
Yeah, exactly. What a rough first period, man. Give me your guys' thoughts. I've already been going in on it.
I can go first, I guess. I'll volunteer. I mean, I thought the energy right out of the gate was a little bit better. I mean, it kind of started off with a soft call on Joe, but I mean, I'm not a moron. I know that's going to get called more often than not. But obviously, Armia behind his own net, trying to play, outplay two Flames players is, it's one of the few ways to make your life a little bit harder. But I don't know, man. We're being outshot by a large margin here. Hopefully, it's just first period jitters. But I mean, a lot of hockey left to play, right? So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm much less enthusiastic and optimistic, which is sort of defining my impression of this entire season. Here's a fun fact for you guys: we haven't won 2 games in a row since February 2nd, and that's with a coaching change.
Wow.
So I don't know what you want to make, what we can make of that, but clearly we're playing a Calgary team now that is sort of on the upward trajectory with the new coaching, with the coaching change, and I think it's just coming at the wrong time. It didn't help that we played basically 2 games in one day. I mean, I'll give the boys a pass there, but tonight it looks just as bad. I feel like I don't know. This season, my enthusiasm and optimism for this season is sinking away. And I'm not going to sit here and say that there aren't certain things I like that we're seeing in terms of Carey Price. He's looked better of late, and they think the team overall is doing certain things better than they were before. But we can't string 2 wins together. Yeah. I mean, we're not gonna survive this. It's that simple. If we can't win more than 2 games in a row every once in a while, we're not gonna survive. So it's frustrating, man.
Yeah, big time. How the hell did Monahan get that much time and space in front of the net just to do whatever he wanted there? Brutal.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, I think we're going to miss Sherrod a lot more than people think. I mean, there was all this talk about breaking that pairing up, and now we have no choice because he's injured. But we were saying on our latest episode of the podcast that we wouldn't break it up because if you look at the time of ice for Weber, Sherrod, and Jeff Petrie, it falls off drastically after those 3 guys. And I think there's a reason, because the coaching staff clearly depend on those guys to do the heavy lifting. So I don't know. I feel like we're going to miss out on.
You know what might be a good choice for the coaching staff here? Luke Richardson, anyway, behind the bench. I mean, what you have in Petrie and Kulak. Why don't you chuck Edmondson up with Weber and get a similar, pairing to what Sherratt was bringing Weber? Maybe that's an option.
That was actually initially my first thought about when Sherratt went down. I was kind of looking at Xavier Ouellet, to be honest with you. I mean, he's a little bit more. I mean, I'm not gonna knock Mete here. This is supposed to be a fun night, and it's supposed to be, it is what it is. But I was looking at him because I just kind of feel like Mete is a little bit of a far cry from what Sherratt would bring. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm hoping we figure it out. But yeah, I'm with John, man. I obviously missed Sherratt since the second he went down. I'm a Big Ben guy, but I don't know, fellas. I don't know.
Well, at least there's 40 minutes left.
There is. Matt, how are the donations going, buddy?
Good, man. It's up. I think it's up well over 300. There were a few that I didn't get amounts from, which is totally fine. But yeah, it's definitely over 300, which is pretty crazy to be able to raise that much.
So we're going to continue talking hockey and obviously all that. I just wanted to get this out. I'm going to be potting in $20 as soon as we get off this call. And I'm also looking at a brand new sticker still in the bag. It was a 2020 playoffs hat that was given to me. And I'm going to donate that to the highest bidder tonight. So that's up for grabs as well, too. So you can throw that in the pot.
Oh, there you go. Right on. So highest bidder, and it'll go towards Parkinson's, eh?
Yeah, just for tonight, just tonight. So everyone get your credit card, your wallet out, cheapskates, and donate to a good cause, and you get a free hat out of it.
Right on. Submit your bids then, guys. Submit your bids, and we'll winner gets a hat, and it'll go towards Parkinson Canada, which is amazing. Thank you so much, Mike. That's very generous of you.
Pleasure's on my buddy.
Right on. So yeah, 40 minutes left, and it was what a singer though. The second goal, I was really hoping we'd leave that period with just down a goal, and then be able to regroup. or at least score one late. And go figure, 20 seconds left, they start playing with a bit of energy there. But they got a tough test ahead of them. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of this plays out. Calgary's a really good team.
Yeah, and I think Daryl Sutter, as soon as they made that decision to hire him, I thought they're going to be a force to reckon with now. There was people were mocking that decision, and I knew right away it was going to be an issue for the rest of us, and I think we're seeing it now. Again, that coaching bounce, that new coaching change, that bounce teams get, they're clearly getting it. I'm not sure we got it. Maybe we got it a little bit, but now I think I think Dominic Ducharme's honeymoon period is over. And he's going to have to start figuring things out rather quickly. And it's tense because I do think that Marc Bergevin wants this team to make the playoffs. Well, there's no exception. So every game now matters more than ever. And yeah, it's a tense situation. And you guys are talking about Luke Richardson. Christ, if I were him, I'd be scared to do anything out of fear that he might get canned next. It's like, what a weird season it's been. And I don't know. What do you guys think about what the Habs might do vis-a-vis Ben Sherrod? Are they going to try and replace him, or are they just going to play the guys they have?
You know what? The face-off stuff is definitely an issue. They need someone in Jake Evans's role. I'd love to see it be Ryan Getzlab, but he's been paid so much, so that'll be hard to work out. But there's got to be some sort of veteran center we can bring in to win some draws and maybe provide some depth offense. And then with Ben Sherrod, the big names at home, so maybe we see Bergevin, go all in and trade some picks. And that would be the type of guy that Bergevin might actually be willing to pay up for, considering he has another year on his deal after this one. So, that's definitely the obvious choice. I'd love to see it get done too, because that's a puck moving two-way defenseman, something that our left side is still lacking. I think he would definitely help.
Yeah, and you got to figure this season, based on what Bergevin's done already, that he won't hesitate to make a move that he thinks can help the team, right? So it feels like all bets are off this season. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. That's for sure.
Yeah, is Mo in here?
Yeah. Not yet. He should be here. I just texted him, guys, so he should be here soon.
Okay, right on. I just want to make sure we weren't missing him.
Check Twitter, but yeah.
So
I'll let you know as soon as he joins.
Right on. We're all Bergevin guys, and we have been for years, and I think in good faith too. But what happens this season if they don't make the playoffs?
I've kind of already given my take on that on the podcast. I think, I think about 50% of the people agree with me and 50% don't. You really kind of have to figure that if he's throwing everything but the kitchen sink in over the course of the off season this past summer, it seems to be, at least on paper, probably one of the more talented teams that we've had in recent memory. Like, I guess, 3/4 of the coaching staff has been fired already. Where's the buck stop at that point, right? So It's going to be interesting to see. I don't necessarily know if I have a prediction, but you kind of can't help but think, there's, and I hate using this word, and that word, that phrase is like the hot seat, but you can't help but wonder, right? That's kind of my position on it. John, I don't know if John had a pretty good breakdown on the podcast. I don't know if you want to repeat it, John, but let it rip, buddy.
It's look, Bergevin's asset management is second to none, really. Yeah. You can't argue anything else, right? But I told the guys this, and if Dominic Ducharme doesn't work out, and that could be, you could look at it multiple ways, right? Some people might think that he's only going to get this, whatever's left of the season. I disagree. I think he'll probably get another full season after this. But if Dominic Ducharme doesn't work out, I think Bergevin's going to have a serious problem on his hands, because I'd be willing to live with what we got from Claude Julien, or what little we got from him in 5 years, if Dominic Ducharme works out. Right? It's a much easier pill to swallow if Dominic works out. If he doesn't, it begs the question, like, what the hell's going on? What have we done? And this goes back to the decision to fire Michel Therrien. I'm not suggesting that wasn't the right call, but as I said to the guys, it's like, I hope that he did something so egregious that Bergevin had no choice, because if that wasn't the case, then I think all of this started with that decision, and we've been sort of on the back foot ever since. What did we get out of Claude Julien's tenure as coach? I don't think we got much out of it. Yeah. And again, that falls on Bergevin. Like, his asset management, stellar, absolutely stellar. But his decision with respect to staff, I think, is could eventually be called into question. But, if Dominic Ducharme works out, then I don't think anyone's really going to care, right? Because it's like we've got this young up-and-coming coach who's finally, got his chance. And so it could work out. But if it doesn't, I don't know, guys. I mean, like I said, that's a big part of his responsibility, right? Is hiring and firing staff. So I guess it all falls on Jeff Molson, right? I mean, if Bergevin's his guy and he thinks that the positives outweigh the negatives, then I don't think he's going anywhere. But again, the coaching situation for me is a big deal because we're just not getting the best out of those decisions, I don't think. Most here, so I'd love to get his take.
Yeah, I'm in a mood today.
Welcome, Mo.
Sorry, I'm not that good at improvising, but I managed to make it on. I apologize for that.
It's all good. So Bergevin, if the Habs don't make the playoffs this season, what do you think?
Me? I mean, I was saying on the podcast this past week that, Marc Bergevin has done everything that he can to make a winner out of this team. Now, I don't know what you guys have said or what have you, but I don't want it to be the excuse as to why we keep Marc Bergevin because there's nobody else better out there. But I like that he puts his everything into this job. And every GM out there is going to make mistakes. Now, there are things that Marc Bergevin still needs to figure out in terms of, I think John was saying the coaching staff, and he's absolutely correct. Like, why does this keep happening? Like, he went all out in the offseason and got every guy he could. And then he made the decisions to fire the coaching staff when he did. I don't want to see Marc Bergevin go. I think he's a fantastic GM. I get the feeling that if he's to walk away, he would either walk away on his own, or if he was fired, he's going to go somewhere else and win the Stanley Cup. I can't put my finger on what's going wrong here in Montreal.
Yeah, you know what? I think I got to compromise and go like a bit of both because I'd love him to stay, but I think I'll go with John too. Maybe he gets one more season. Maybe to see if Suzuki and Kotkaniemi can progress a little more, because that's definitely where there's a weakness down the middle there and the inexperience.
Yeah.
And he's got 1 year left on his contract. May as well see it out. If the Habs make the playoffs next year, you got to think Dom Ducharme, or if they make the playoffs this year, maybe win a round or two, Dom Ducharme's a shoe-in to stay on full time. If they don't make the playoffs, you got to think his name's just in there to be interviewed. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. I think the second start. I doubt it, Matt. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Matt. I doubt it. I think Dominic Ducharme's getting another season, regardless of what happens this year. If you're asking me,
I'm cool with that.
If there was a question mark around Dom right now, I don't think he would have gotten the job in the first place. And I said on the podcast a few times that my concern with Ducharme was always the fact that he was literally behind the bench for 2 years alongside two guys that were fired. And the question for me was how much say did he or did he not have during that 2 year period. And we can assume, based on what little we've heard, that he didn't have that much say in terms of how the guys played on a regular basis. So if you assume that, and that would, lend a hand into understanding why the decision was made to, appoint him head coach, I don't see him being given only half a season. For me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think that he's going to be given next season a full season for sure. It's only fair. Like, again, if you figure that he's your guy who can lead you, out of this slump and beyond, and like I said, they got him for a reason in the first place. When they initially hired him, he was a hot commodity, right? Like, he had just won the World Juniors so I think that was the plan. They wanted to get him in the system so that he wouldn't go somewhere else. I doubt that they'll just let him go after this season, regardless of what happens. So, I just don't see it happen.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be our head coach going into next season, almost certainly.
Yeah. Well, I guess the second start in here. Now, I just want to make sure I mention this before I let you go. You guys have, and I want everyone to know this, you guys have been a huge part of a piece of my support system, continuing my YouTube channel, motivating me. And anytime I'm maybe a little down on myself, I need my tires pumped, you guys are there for me the whole time, all these last 3 years. And I appreciate you guys for that. Your podcast is absolutely stellar. Not only just your guys' ability to touch on every angle of any given topic, but the interview skills, the guests you have. So where can everyone find you?
Well, you can find us on, I believe, Instagram at From Failing Hands Pod, and then Twitter at FF Hands Podcast. I know it's a weird one, but yeah, FF Hands Podcast on Twitter. And yeah, we're live. Well, we're not live, but we record every Wednesday, usually Wednesday night, Thursday morning releases. And we appreciate your support, buddy. And yeah, we will tag team anything with you anytime, pal. We love the work that you do, and we continue to enjoy your support as well too. And for every other podcast that you had on, I believe it was the other night, it was Wednesday or Thursday night. Hopefully they keep doing what they're doing, because fan content and fan perspective and just different opinions all around is what it's all about, man. That's really the only thing I'm really attracted to. It's the only thing I can relate to, and you're one of those people, Matt. So I appreciate what you're doing for all these podcasts this week as well, pal.
Thanks, buddy. And again, thanks again for the generosity. And maybe we can get a thread going with the auction for that hat.
100%, man. And I actually was in a better mood than I thought. I donated $50, so hopefully everyone can kind of match that, and maybe we'll create a bidding war tonight for that hat.
You're a stud, man. You're a stud. Cheers, guys. You all are. Have a good evening, and hopefully this game turns around.
Matt. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it, brother.
See you, buddy.
Cheers, guys. Go Abs, go.
Go Abs, go.